Do you think that problems with erection, frequent trips to the bathroom, and loss of confidence are merely a consequence of age? What if the reason lies in a hidden area that you have ignored all your life? Research published in a urology journal showed that 68% of men over 50 with erectile dysfunction experience chronic tension in the perineum, the area between the scrotum and anus, which the ancients called the $1,000,000 point. And then you face the absence of a morning erection, difficulties with controlling urination, and the feeling that you are no longer a man. One day you wake up thinking, is this forever? But in this video, I will tell you how just 1 minute of gentle massage on this point every day can restore blood flow, relieve pelvic tension, improve prostate function, and give you not just an erection, but a sense of control over your body. Do you want to know exactly where this point is, how to stimulate it correctly, and which natural oils can enhance the effect? What if a single hidden point between the scrotum and anus could restore normal blood flow, a firm erection, and the male strength you thought was lost forever in just 60 seconds? It sounds incredible, yet this area has been regarded for centuries in Eastern traditions as the $1,000,000 point, and not by chance. For right beneath this small strip of skin lie the arteries that nourish the penis, the nerves responsible for pleasure, and even the root of the penis. And slightly above is the prostate, a key organ for male health. With age, blood begins to stagnate, nerves tighten, and muscles lose their elasticity. As a result, the erection weakens, urination increases, and energy fades away. But with just 1 minute of gentle massage each day, it feels like you're removing a plug from the system. Blood begins to flow freely again, nerves activate, and the prostate receives the necessary oxygen. Men over 60 who practice this massage report that it feels like the engine has started again. But here's the question. What if your weak erection is not a sentence of age, but a consequence of ignoring that one single point? You think your erectile problem is related to age. What if it's really about tense nerves and stagnant blood in that very area you didn't even suspect? Imagine spending 8 hours a day driving or at a desk, year after year, unaware of how the pelvic muscles gradually tighten like a clenched fist, hiding nerves responsible for pleasure and excitement. They do not scream. They simply remain silent. Blood stagnates like water in a closed tap, and even with a strong desire, your body does not react, not due to weakness, but due to blockage. A study published in European Neurology confirmed that 68% of men over 50 with erectile dysfunction show signs of chronic compression of the sciatic nerve, especially those leading a sedentary lifestyle. This is the story of Victor, a 62-year-old man, a former long-haul truck driver who complained for years about fatigue in his lower body until he started massaging his perineum daily. Within 2 weeks, he wrote that it felt as if someone had flipped a switch, and everything began to work. But what if this mysterious point they speak of is not a myth, but the key to awakening your masculine power? Why did ancient peoples call it the $1,000,000 point, and how have modern studies confirmed this? Stimulation of this area not only improves potency, but also positively affects prostate health. It sounds like a fairy tale, but in Taoist texts written 2,000 years ago, it was already mentioned. The point between the scrotum and anus is the gateway to male strength. She was called Hui Yin, the center of life energy. Those who knew how to awaken it maintained vitality, mental clarity, and sexual activity into old age. Interestingly, modern urology studies confirm this. A study published in the Journal of Urology found that daily perineal stimulation in men over 50 reduces symptoms of benign prostatic hyperplasia by 40% in just 8 weeks. This is the story of Grigory, who is 67 years old and lived in Krasnodar. He suffered for a long time from frequent nighttime trips to the bathroom, a weak stream, and the feeling of incomplete emptying. The doctor recommended surgery, but Grigory decided to try massaging his perineum for 1 minute in the morning and evening. After 3 weeks, he wrote, "I slept all night without waking, and in the morning, not just an erection, but a feeling as if my body was responding again." Why exactly here? Beneath this point are the roots of the penis, nerve endings, and the prostate itself. Massage helps improve lymph flow, eliminates stagnation, enhances circulation, and the prostate receives the oxygen it desperately needs. And here's the question. What if your morning weakness is not due to age, but to stagnant blood in that very spot you never even suspected? What if the disappearance of morning erections is not caused by hormonal changes, but by the pelvic floor muscles becoming both tight and weak, like a rubber band that has been stretched for too long? Do you think that if testosterone levels were higher, everything would return to normal? But that's not the case. Even with a perfect hormonal balance, an erection won't last if the internal valve doesn't function properly. This refers to the pelvic floor muscles that support the bladder, intestines, and penis. Over the years, especially with a sedentary lifestyle, they lose tone, yet remain tense like a taut rope. Blood rushes in but does not linger, and the morning passes in silence. A study from the International Journal of Impotence Research confirmed that men over 50 with weakened pelvic floors are 3 times more likely to lose morning erections, even with normal testosterone levels. Here is the story of Leonid, who is 64 years old. He was an engineer and spent years at the drawing board. In the morning, he felt emptiness, hormones normal, vessels clear. The doctor recommended perineal massage and Kegel exercises. Just 2 weeks later, he wrote, "I woke up and it was as if my body remembered who I am again." But what if your strength never disappeared? She is just waiting for you to remember the muscles that have always been with you. Have you ever felt a slight burning or discomfort below, but attributed it to fatigue? What if this is the first signal of a chronic inflammatory process that has been eroding your masculine strength for many years? You might think, it's no problem, just fatigue. But your body doesn't lie. Even a slight tingling, a bit of dryness, or a feeling of tightness is not just tiredness. It's a warning. Beneath the skin, hidden inflammation is already actively developing, especially if you are over 60. With age, the immune system weakens and blood microcirculation slows down. Even a modest accumulation of smegma can become a breeding ground for bacteria. They do not manifest overtly, but act subtly, destroying tissues, causing micro tears, and provoking swelling. A study from the journal Urology confirmed that 45% of men over 50 complaining of mild discomfort showed signs of chronic balanoposthitis upon examination, even without pronounced symptoms. Here is the story of Oleg. He is 63 years old, from Rostov. For years, he felt a slight burning sensation after intimacy but remained silent, considering it normal for his age, until one day pain occurred during an erection. Tests revealed a hidden fungal infection that had been destroying tissue from within for 3 years. And here is the question. What if your silence is the main ally of that very infection that slowly deprives you not only of health, but also of self-confidence? What happens to your body in the 60 seconds after a perineal massage? And why, just a week later, can you wake up feeling like you are in control of your life again? When you start to gently massage the area between the scrotum and anus, after 30 seconds, nerve endings that have long been inactive are activated. The blood, stagnant in the pelvic area, begins to move as if receiving a signal to start. After 60 seconds, a chain reaction begins, the vessels expand, the pelvic floor muscles relax, and the prostate receives its first influx of oxygen in a long time. A study from the Journal of Sexual Medicine confirmed that daily perineal massage in men over 50 improves microcirculation by 40% within just 7 days. This is the story of Semyon, who is 65 years old and from Voronezh. After the stroke, he practically lost sensitivity in the lower part of his body. The doctors said, "It's normal for your age." However, Semyon began to massage his perineum for 1 minute in the morning and evening. On the 8th day, he wrote, "I woke up and for the first time in 2 years felt that I was in control of my body again. Not because I got up, but because I felt whole again." And here is the question. What if your morning weakness is not a result of age, but simply stagnant blood in that area you haven't even thought about? What 3 natural oils can turn an ordinary massage into a powerful therapy, enhancing blood flow, reducing inflammation, and even supporting testosterone production? Do you think perineal massage is just pressure? But by adding the right oil, you trigger a biochemical reaction you didn't even suspect. The first oil is black cumin oil. It contains thymolquinone, which, according to the Journal of Ethnopharmacology, not only improves microcirculation, but also stimulates Leydig cells responsible for testosterone production. The second is cold-pressed coconut oil. It not only moisturizes the skin, but also has a powerful antibacterial effect due to its lauric acid, protecting tissues from hidden infections that can undermine men's health for years. The third is castor oil. It penetrates deep into the tissues, activating lymph flow and eliminating chronic inflammation, especially if there is a tendency for stagnation in the prostate. Let's imagine the story of Arkady, a 71-year-old resident of Samara who has long suffered from a feeling of heaviness below, frequent urges at night, and weak erection. The doctor recommended massage with oils. Just 10 days later, he wrote, "It was as if someone had turned on a tap, and everything inside began to work." But what if your body doesn't need medicine, but rather such gentle and deep awakening? Why are morning and evening the best times for this practice? And how to perform it correctly so as not to harm but to initiate natural recovery processes? Morning and evening are not just convenient moments. They are biological windows when your body is especially receptive to stimulation. In the morning, right after waking up, testosterone levels peak. A gentle massage of the perineum at this time enhances the hormonal response, as if telling your body, start the day with strength. You are not just activating circulation, you are launching a male program for the entire day. In the evening, an hour before sleep, everything is different. The body prepares for recovery. The parasympathetic nervous system takes over. Stress fades away. Cortisol levels decrease. It is at this moment that perineal massage acts as a deep release, relaxing the pelvic floor, improving lymphatic drainage, and preparing the prostate for nighttime recovery. Many men note that after evening practice, they sleep more deeply, and in the morning, they wake up with a slight but noticeable tension in the groin, not from arousal, but because the blood flows freely again. It is important to remember to apply pressure gently, like on a ripe peach, avoiding strong pressure. Perform circular movements for 30 seconds in each direction, and never massage in the presence of inflammation, swelling, or pain. And here's the question. What if your morning weakness is not a sign of age, but just stagnant blood in that very area you haven't even thought about? Do you know that the perineum is a knot of vital paths of masculinity? What if the reason for your frequent nighttime trips to the bathroom and loss of confidence in bed is hidden right here? You wake up 3 or 4 times a night, not because of age, but because the prostate, compressed by tense pelvic floor muscles, cannot drain properly. Beneath her lies the perineum, the very area where the nerves of the bladder, the vessels of the penis, and the root of erectile function intersect. When this area is chronically tense, as if you are constantly holding back, it presses on the urethra and irritates the prostate. As a result, frequent urges, a weak stream of urine, and the feeling that the bladder is not completely emptied. A study published in the International Neurology Journal confirmed that 91% of men over 50 with chronic pelvic pain and nocturnal polyuria exhibited muscle tension specifically in the perineum. This is the story of Ruslan, who is 59 years old, from Yekaterinburg. For many years, he has suffered from nightly trips to the bathroom and felt embarrassed due to weak erections. Urologists prescribed him medications for prostate treatment, but they were ineffective until he started massaging his perineum daily. After just 10 days, he wrote, "I slept all night." In the morning, he experienced not just an erection, but a feeling that his body was regaining control. And here arises the question, what if your morning weakness is not age, but merely stagnant blood in that very place you haven't even thought about? What if just 1 minute a day is all it takes to avoid emergency surgery, scars, and loss of sensitivity that men generally prefer to remain silent about after 60? Imagine waking up with a sharp, constricting sensation, unable to return the foreskin to its place, the skin starting to turn blue and pulsate with pain. This is an emergency situation related to paraphimosis. Without timely intervention, there is a risk of necrosis, amputation, and permanent loss of sensation. But did you know that most of these cases can be prevented? A study published in the European Urology Journal confirmed that 82% of men over 60 who underwent emergency circumcision had experienced symptoms of chronic inflammation and narrowing a year prior, which were ignored due to shame or false confidence that it would resolve on its own. This is the story of Boris, a 70-year-old man from Volgograd. He had long felt a slight tightening, but preferred to remain silent. One morning, sharp pain brought him to the emergency room. The doctors said, "If you had come for a checkup at least a month ago, surgery could have been avoided." After rehabilitation, he began to massage his perineum for just 1 minute every day. After 2 weeks, he noticed that the skin had become more elastic, the inflammation had stopped, and most importantly, the fear had disappeared.